back in the studio with another gameplay, back on my comfortable side, the Rebels, with little El Clasico matchup versus Joke. Um, Starting off on the board, pretty pretty balanced board. Um, won't be able to build anything turn one, probably. No Ryloth. I'm imagining he will cover Kashyyyk here, and it looks like I'm joking in the comments a little bit because him and I haven't played for a while. He's been busy, and so might try something, try some shenanigans to welcome him back. Interesting. I can't remember what my starting objective was. Yeah, he's realizing he needs to cover Solist. In this situation, this is one of those situations where I really wouldn't mind. Hmm. I'm looking at Solist, and it's one space where you really want to cover Corellia, Kato, Bespin, and Mustafar, and so might prefer a more flexible fleet there with a Star Destroyer and Assault Carrier. Just to start, yeah, that looks a little bit better. Looks like the Assault Carrier might go to Corellia, and then take that to Kato. There's really no. The thing about this is if you're going to do this deployment, you might as well put the Death Star in Coruscant. This could be a situation where if I get Rebel Assault turn one, that Star Destroyer in Coruscant is looking very, very vulnerable. And if you take out that Star Destroyer in Coruscant, it's going to be hard for him to get to Ord. He might have to go from Seleucami to Mandalore this turn to get Ord. And then if he does that, now all of a sudden he's going to be really weak, probably in the Hutt region. So just something to consider. It's all about looking a couple turns ahead as the Empire to where you need to cover. And yeah, I'm playing, normally I like to do a deployment in Utapau, but I think I see it as because he has this one Star Destroyer in Coruscant, I could really cause some trouble by putting a blockade on Megiddo, stopping that AT-AT. And then here, this is a situation where I get R2 and I put it on Mothma. And the reason I'm doing that is because I don't want him trying to block my Build Alliance turn one. That'll be probably the most important mission I run all game is Build Alliance in Utapau. And if I put R2 on Leia, then I would have to put Leia in Utapau first. And I'm planning on doing an attack this turn in Megiddo. And so I need Leia free. I need her back. Two really good starting missions. Right off the bat, you can see with the ROTE deck, this is why you need units in the base. Because with the behind enemy lines and lead the strike team, those are all units that come from the base. And so I'm feeling pretty happy that I didn't do a big deployment out on the map. Been watching a lot of games recently, and a lot of times Rebel players will start with a lot of their initial deployment units out on the map, and then a Soontir happens, or an Ozzel happens, or you do an early attack into Palpatine's action card, and you can get pretty frustrated, but you sort of have to expect that something like that is bound to happen. He's playing the base deck, and so statistically, if he has a bad mission turn one, it's going to be trade negotiations. And so to not risk him getting Utapau off the bat, I'm just gonna drop Mothma there. That is dropping Mothma there right away is not great if he has something like propaganda or fear will keep them in line. But again, statistically, if he did draw a diplomacy mission, he's got two trade negotiations and a display of power. And those three you want to open with loyalty on Utapau, and then for the other two, you would want to stall out to see what he does. So I'm going to sabotage Solist in order to get just more diplomacy in the sector. If he does have one of those tough missions, then having Reek in there can give me a little bit more of a boost to stop. And now he covers Bothawi. I'm feeling pretty good that I can block some sort of shenanigans. Stack even more. And there's the Rebel Assault. Very happy. Pretty good objective so far. Let's see what Palpatine is up to. I don't remember. This game was played a couple of... And so now, knowing Joke, that's a pretty normal move for him to do a rule by fear and an R&D turn one. Now, normally I would expect him to move to Corellia if he does that. Maybe I should have thought about this a little bit more, but I think I just assumed it was an R&D that Tarkin was on. Um, I think I probably... There's a lot of good missions too. Tarkin could even be on address delays. Oof. And there's the bad news. There is the bad news. Now, fortunately, I played around this a bit, but some of that inflexibility he was dealing with, and Bespin, Corellia, Cato is now completely negated by this one mission. This mission is broken. It is overpowered. It is one diplomacy for two loyalty in any systems in that region. You compare that to three diplomacy for regional aid, and that's only in the mission, the system you play it in, and another system in that region. And the flexibility of Fear Will Keep Them in Line is just bonkers. So I'm pretty sad about that. I mean, I'm happy that I was able to keep you to POW, but um, I I really put a lot of effort into stopping the capital ship production of the Empire, and so him being able to grab Cato and Corellia turn one is less than ideal. Have lead the strike team, have plant explosives. I have a lot of ways to clear out his ground, and now I have Churret. And so by blockading Megiddo, by sabotaging Solist, I have sort of put myself in a good position to be fairly strong on the ground. And I don't know if you caught, but my base choice was Ilum. And part of that was seeing, expecting that he was going to have to maybe use this Coruscant Star Destroyer to check Cato, to cover Corellia, something like that, hoping to mess with his movements there. And that's another way in which this Fear Will Keep Them in Line has hurt me, because now that Star Destroyer is pretty much completely free to just move toward Ord. And I'm hoping to draw his troops further to Megiddo past Ilum, but Ilum can sometimes be a sneaky base choice. Going to infiltrate here in Mon Cal. He's not running a capture, and I don't want him to get an easy build alliance there. And so I'm okay if he wants to do it in Solus to pull off the sabotage. I'd rather him do that than get a another Star Destroyer. And here's the move to Ord. A little risky. I think I should be okay. I am on a R&D or a rapid in case I don't feel confident in my position, but I have this Y-wing on the queue. I'm going to be looking for, and he has one movement left with after this, and so I'm going to be looking for an opportunity to fork probably this assault carrier in Bothawi, depending on what he moves next. So if I build loyalty in Nalhutta, I can deploy the Y-wing there to blow up the assault carrier. And now he smartly put a shield bunker on the queue with his Cato build, And so he can always put that in Bothui. But if I'm feeling a little extra spicy, I can do that attack with Turret and just blow up that assault carrier for free. That's always an option. And in fact, sometimes when the Empire deploys a second assault carrier, it can be really good with Turret to use Baze's loyalty to blow up one assault carrier and then the Y-Wing card to blow up the second one. And you can take out two assault carriers for the cost of one Y-Wing. That's a good play to look out for when your opponent does manage to get that assault carrier build turn one. I'm trying to figure out a good Sabo spot. Um, I assume Jerjerod's on a Sabo. Mandalore's good. He can't move off of it. Wonder if... And there's Secret Weapons Project. Okay. So hopefully he gets two lasers here. And of course, Jerjerod could always have his proceeding as planned action card. So you want to take mental note of this. If I'm playing like a tournament game, I'll actually keep track of how many project cards the Empire has drawn. There's many situations where knowing whether or not they could have a laser, knowing whether or not they could bring out a a second Death Star, and then deploy it quick with an overseas project. Knowing those possibilities can be really helpful when you get into, more serious games. And here, I want to block Mothma, and I feel like I cannot stall out. Sorry, I want to block a Palpatine with Leia, and I feel like I just can't stall out the Build Alliance in Nal Hutta. So I just go for Ryloth. It's gonna stay free because he has to cover Utapau anyway. And now Leia's free to block this Rule by Fear. Don't like seeing that in Ord. If I get independent operations or something, I won't be able to clear that out. But I'm going to take this opportunity to rapid these units. He still needs to move to Megiddo if he wants to build there. And now I have more units in base to do these behind enemy lines, to lead the strike teams, those sorts of things. And there's the independent operation. Now I have two fists for lead the strike team, and I have Cassian's card, and Cassian with his mission is just so much better than without it. I rarely run Cassian's mission at all unless I have Cassian, and even then I will delay it. But if I don't have Cassian, I almost never run it unless I just have nothing else to do. It's just so slow, and if you're only drawing one mission, you're essentially just drawing a mission that you were about to draw anyway in the next turn or two. And so if I'm really desperate, if I feel like I don't have any playable missions other than the starting missions, then I'll do it. But I really don't prioritize that mission too heavily. And then I see three bad probes, and I'm not planning on rapiding this turn, so I'm just going to throw those back on top. Now, sometimes if you are planning on doing a rapid, and I've made this mistake before, even if they're not the best probes, throw them on the bottom and then run another rapid so that you can see even more probes. And because I'm playing ROTE, this is one thing you have to remember. The systems that are good to move to late game are different than the probes in base. Because in base, when you have base rebel deck, a lot of times an empty remote is going to be your best option because you can draw it with plant false leads and put it back in the deck and then hidden fleet there with your entire base. And for example, if the Empire draws Endor early and they just never move to Endor, and then you pull it out of their hand with plant false leads. On the other hand, with ROTE Rebel deck, I know systems like I pulled Felucia, Felucia is usually a system that you land an assault carrier on and then promptly move it off of, leaving a TIE fighter or a trooper behind. And because the Rote Rebel deck has cards like Behind Enemy Lines, the best systems to move to late game end up being systems that the Empire moves off of very quickly. Systems like Geo, like Felucia, oftentimes like Kato. So really quick here, I got the Behind Enemy Lines, I have the Rebel Assault, and this is the problem with leaving the Utapau move until turn 3 is now I get to attack this Star Destroyer, bring a lot of red dice, and he doesn't bring a leader. And so I feel pretty confident about my chances to take out this Star Destroyer, score a point, and get another build on Utapau. Now, if I had been a little more on my game, thinking more clearly, I would say to myself, hey, Joke loves blowing up, loves blowing up Naboo on turn 3 in order to get loyalty in Utapau. And so maybe I would have realized this is a bit of a fool's errand, and I'm actually emptying out my base of space power when he has a Star Destroyer right next to it in Ord. So maybe not my best laid out plan, because he did do Secret Weapons Project last turn, and so it makes sense that he probably has a laser in hand, and he's probably going to use it this turn. Open up with the Y-Wing card. Oh, that was another reason. Another reason I decided to not try to go for Nalhutta was I envisioned this play last turn of, oh, I see he has a lone Star Destroyer and Geo. I'm going to try and blow that up with Behind Enemy Lines. And you really need the Y-Wing card for that play. And he just rolls a brutal 3 crits. I get to keep the Corvette alive. Maybe he should have gone for the Corvette with the 2 crits and taken out a Y-Wing. Then it's just a Y-Wing and an X-Wing, but maybe 6 of one, half dozen of the other. And now I've kind of left him with a bit of a mess up here in this Geo region. Unfortunately, I'm not there, and I'm also not in Endor, which is where it would attract his attention from if he were to head toward Ryloth with the Death Stars. So I'm not sure how I feel about that play. I get the point, but I think it might have been better to do something else with that Behind Enemy Lines. Um, I don't know. Time will tell. Get the promotion here. I'm a little bit worried about maybe a display of power or something. So maybe I think I'm bringing in, who am I bringing in here? It would probably be Saw, because he's the only leader now that I can't recruit from an action card because I passed on him with Under the Radar. There's the Rule by Fear. Again, I think, I'm not sure why I don't block that with Leia. I think that's a mistake on my part. Um, maybe, yeah, maybe I'm a little bit worried about a tag capture. I think maybe Joke has been doing that a little bit more, a tag capture. Now, here's a hard game for sure. I don't want to drop a Rebel cell in Ryloth because I want him to put that Star Destroyer in Geo. I don't want that Star Destroyer going anywhere near Ilum Dantooine. And I feel pretty good about my objectives. I think maybe I could use Rebel Cell to score Long War. But other than that, I feel like I'm confident I'm going to get decisive victory, and I feel like I can pull off Heart with Turret's card. I already have a lead. The strike team, if he puts a ground trooper there, I can lead the strike team in Coruscant and blow up that TIE fighter. Something like that. Okay. Leia's gonna hang in Corellia instead of doing something useful. I don't know about that. I think he probably wants to keep Vader and wait for my rule by fear or my build alliance. Um, Probably going for Bespin or Toydaria. And so I think he could have run his missions, um, whatever Tag is doing, at least. I'm guessing Jerjerod's on a laser at this point. Now I have to Sabo. I don't feel good about Saboing Corellia because one of those could very well be an R&D. Maybe Bothui? Bothui would probably be the best spot. Again, Geo looks like a tasty Sabo, and maybe I just put it there because if I were in Ryloth or Tatooine, that's where I would do it. But I would really like for him to put that Star Destroyer there. Of course, the hope now with Saw is that I can draw Wookiee Uprising, take out that, that Star Destroyer in Kashyyyk. That's always the dream. Um, yeah, I'm not really too sure what I'm hesitating on. I think it's a very clear build alliance in Toydaria, and then I can wait and see if he R&Ds. Hmm, I'm putting myself through the ringer on this one. I guess everything's easier in hindsight. Another thing too, um, to think about here is, yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm so vexed about, what I'm worried about. I definitely want to build alliance first. Okay, I go for Bespin. Yeah, that makes sense. I've deployed two address delays. Awful, awful. So that makes sense. He's getting a lot of space, two address delays. He's going to build two more Star Destroyers. And I just blew all of my space, taking out a Star Destroyer all the way across the galaxy. And then I'm still worried about, yeah, I just got outplayed this turn, I think. Maybe I overcomplicated it, but yeah. So I'm going for the speeder here because now I'm trying to assert ground dominance. I think I've realized I've lost the space battle, the space war, and emptied out my space from base. And with these address delays and his good job taking loyalty, and that's part of it too. Is you can look at him ruling by fear in Moncal turn one and be like, what's the point of that? And well, it's going to be a lot harder for me to score loyalty objectives. And now turn two, he has both Corellia and Moncal loyal, and he's just building up a storm. Really happy to see plan the assault. I feel like it's just an inevitability that I'm going to be able to get Heart of the Empire, and hopefully for two turns. Because unless he drops this Star Destroyer in Corellia or Ord or Coruscant, then I'm feeling pretty good about my chances. I think that's a mistake. I think I should do U-Wing and maybe the Speeder in base. Because with this plan the assault, if I bring the U-Wing to Coruscant, I can use the U-Wing card to get a trooper there and increase my chances of, oh, I think I realize that. Now, I would do a speeder instead of a Nebulon. I don't think the Nebulon's going to help me if he moves the Star Destroyer to Ilum. And the speeder will help me because at that point, once the base is, this is something to think about. Once your base is discovered, especially if you're choosing a remote system, you want to, or you feel like it might be discovered, you want to prioritize oftentimes the ground because space, you can always deploy a system or two away and move that over. Now, obviously, it's a balancing act because if you can hold space, then that really matters too. But um, looking at it as, okay, if I don't get anything else deployed directly into the base, at least I can move space toward the base. I can't really do that with ground. Um, so I think maybe instead of the Nebulon, the speeder would work. But right here, the plan is to plan assault with this U-wing and maybe the transport, maybe the X-wing, maybe the Nebulon, and get some troopers in Coruscant. I hope he doesn't deploy anything there. Put down a shield bunker in Mustafar um, to move the Death Star there to keep it protected. And he's a little bit worried with my deployment, I think, putting the Nebulon and a fighter in base, which is good. Huh. Now I have an extra leader, and so this is the perfect time to do something like Secret Mission. I'm not really worried about, oh, worst case scenario, guys. The Star Destroyer goes down in Coruscant. I don't, I don't know why he did that. Unless he's already drawn Ryloth and Tatooine. I mean, it's very clear that I've put a lot of pressure around Geo taking out that Star Destroyer, sabotaging it. Um, and in fact, if I did have Rebel Cell in Ryloth, he would be in a lot of trouble. Hmm. So now I'm kind of trying to figure out the best course because lead the strike team's not really going to help me. I guess it helps me if he moves all of his space. I think I'm a little bit confused about because he didn't even put a ground unit in Coruscant. He just put a TIE fighter and a Star Destroyer. And so with a ground unit, it would make sense because then he could move to Alderaan and check it. Huh. Yeah, I wonder what his probes are that led for him to do that. Interesting. So I have some pretty good missions here. The hope is that maybe he moves a TIE fighter and the Star Destroyer away, and I can plan the assault then. Unfortunately, what that means is I'll probably only get Coruscant for one turn, which is okay. I mean, if it causes him to waste a few moves, the 2 points is always worth it. I would never delay it with the hopes of getting a better setup, getting it for more turns. Yeah, I'm just really maybe he suspected Heart of the Empire. He wanted to play around it, but even then, I think dropping um, dropping some heavy ground, a bunker and an ATST, might hold it better. Um, of course, in 2 turns, the Star Destroyer is going to be a moot point. He's already built most of his Star Destroyers. He maybe has one left to build. So maybe he's just like, you know what? I'll just throw this here for safekeeping. I've got enough on the queue that I'm not worried about it. All right, right here we have a scary combination of leaders. There's always something like a draw out into a capture into interrogation droid. You always want to pay attention when you have Vader and okay, he switches Vader for Palpatine, so much less scary. But yeah, anytime you have those 3 blue icon leaders on a mission, 3 fist icon leaders, Just always want to be taking stock of the missions your opponents are running. And then here's the proceeding as planned that we thought he might have. And so now I am, he's got a project that he's drawn randomly. He's got a mystery Jerdrod mission, and he's got Krennic on a mission. I think it's reasonable to be worried about a second Death Star here. All right, let's act like we're coming for this Death Star. Any move he does with the Death Star is a move where he's not discovering the base. Mix these up because he has Lord Vader's orders. And we'll take the seize control. You know, I get a recon, I can get the behind enemy lines back. I have the lead the strike team. Hmm. Might be a good mission to block with turret. I don't think turret's going to get a better thing to block than Vader on Rule by Fear. Oof. Ooh, there's the Wookiee uprising. A little bit late. I hope I don't hold on to it. He's probably definitely going to move that Star Destroyer. And contingency plan, trade relations, great, great, great. Especially for next turn, right before a build. I'll hopefully be able to get a lot of units out uh, with the next build. And, um, you know, if I haven't seen all of the level twos, I haven't seen any level threes, always good to think ahead to an uprising, a popular support, some really easy objective scoring, especially since I have R2 on Mothma, so he won't be blocking many of those loyalty missions. Okay, there is secure the plans, and now this is why you get undercover. This is why you get undercover right here. This is the main mission you want to block. I have Dodonna sitting on Plan the Assault. I have two recons in the deck, a very exposed Death Star, and I think this is very much worth Leia and Undercover to put 5 blue on that block. And also, I highly suspect with Jerjerod's mission that he's building a second Death Star to strengthen up the left side of the board. So let's go all out. Let's send Leia. Let's send Obi. I'm taking some time to think about it now. You don't have to act right away because it's the action is on me, and so I just want to make sure that that's what I'm doing. I think I've convinced myself a second Death Star is coming, and so we're gonna give it the old college try. Roll a 5, and his green dice. Yeah, his green dice really hurt me there. Roll the dice a couple extra times out of frustration. See what's wrong with them. Why are they not doing what I need them to do? And then move on with my life. Continuing with the idea that I'm somewhere up near Ryloth, trying to draw his focus up there, and really, really hoping that this Star Destroyer moves. And there is the Death Star. So he got it actually from Secret Weapons Project. That is that is bad news. Now, interesting, if he had waited till next turn and got an oversee project with Jerjerrod, then he could have immediately deployed it. Maybe with Jerjerrod, I can't remember what he got, but pretty bleak. I'm in Ilum. There's an invincible Death Star being built 2 systems away. There's a random Star Destroyer in Coruscant blocking my heart score, and a lot of game left. A lot of time for him to find this base. I haven't done a rapid yet either, other than to pull units back, so I'm not quite sure his probe situation, but I'm nervous that he doesn't seem too concerned with Endor or Ryloth. Are we going to do this rule? Build alliance. Naboo. Interesting. Why Naboo? Maybe I'm planning on retreating these Utapau units. Maybe that's what I'm doing. You know, every game where you do these early rapids and you just see these terrible systems. Oh goodness. Oh goodness. What am I doing? And he has double our efforts already. And so, yeah, he uses Gergerod. Oh my goodness, this is terrible. So, 2 random projects. He gets Laser to take Utapau, and he gets a Death Star. And then he already has double our efforts and secure the plans. And now, by putting Gergerod on, I'm guessing Oversea Project, he gets the 1 turn Death Star 2 systems away, invulnerable. So right away I go, okay, my space is worthless. So I'm going for it. He has no leaders left. We're going to flip combat here, and we're going to get lucky. That's the plan. Gonna get, oh, and we get lucky. So now it's time for the green dice to be my friend. And I've done the top of the card, and the reason why I did that, normally in a longer battle it's better to flip, but I can't heal. My heals are non-existent because it's all green dice. And I wanted to make sure that I keep enough fighters alive to keep this battle going. Give me 1 hit. There we go. There we go. See now, if I had saved my behind enemy lines and not wasted all of my space, this attack would be a much stronger hold on Coruscant. And the stronger hold is going to matter because he has Soontir. So next turn, he's very easily going to be able to Soontir my puny Coruscant fleet. And I killed the Star Destroyer anyway, and so that probably would have been the better play, would be to have saved some of my space units, let the Geo Star Destroyer do its thing, and I just waited for a better opportunity. I'm surprised I'm not taking the Corvette back here. I think I could really benefit from a Corvette in base, especially because I have a Moncal coming in. Ugh. And okay, there's Kessel, but again, that's what I'm talking about is seeing. mm, I don't know. I don't know. And I had already seen one of those probes from under the radar. Yeah, I think maybe I'm not noticing the Corvette and the Trooper, but I really wished I had brought those back. Got the heart, got the 2 points. Unfortunately, Soontir is going to spoil my efforts, but what are you going to do? And again, if I had that extra space to bring, maybe this could have gone differently. So now I have a naked Moncal in the base. My hope here is that this Death Star maybe goes to Dantooine. Gonna discard some missions here. Doesn't look like Safe Haven's gonna come into play. Um, get Maydeen. Yeah, so now I have this naked Moncal, and The Moncal is not really going to hold up against much by itself. I mean, with a Corvette and the cancel card, it can be pretty powerful. Um, but get rid of turret here, I would imagine. I don't want to get rid of Rican because I have base defenses and I have contingency plan. I don't know, the fists are pretty good because I have still have lead the strike team and plant explosives. I don't know, a good combo with plant the explosives is to do mating ambush, drop saw and turret on plant explosives, and then you have three leaders to blow up ground units to open up a turn. So maybe it would have been better to keep turret. I contemplated getting rid of Dodana because um, Dodana already used his mission. But there's recon, there's blocking is gather intel. I just always find the blue icons a little more useful. The interesting. Okay, I think this is what's going on. So I deploy a Moncal and Ryloth. Part of this is a bluff, but also part of it is I feel the desperate need to move the base. So I'm trying to do two things. I'm trying to bait out Soontir into take out my Moncal. Because if he does Soontir in Ryloth, he's not doing it in Coruscant. Now, Joke is too good of a player to make that mistake if he doesn't have a contingency plan. But I'm thinking keep this speeder on Q because if I move to Endor, if I move to no, I can't make up my mind. I don't know. I think it would have been fine to keep the speeder on Q. The Moncal I'm probably putting in there in case he drops a assault carrier on Megiddo or Ord. I can attack out and score decisive. Um, that might be what my thinking is. And here, that's why I can't get rid of Dodana. I still have his action card, so I'm probably going to play that. And I think I know that I'm going to get Death Star plans. So I'm not exactly getting Death Star plans for the Death Star plans because right now they're useless. I'm mainly getting the Death Star plans so that I can get to the level threes quicker. Because I gotta figure out some way to speed up this game. There's four Star Destroyers about to be dropped, two invincible Death Stars on the map, and just a whole world of hurt. It's looking bleak. I guess my one hope at the moment is he doesn't have a laser. He needs to run another R&D, but because his two project cards off the top were Death Star and he played one laser. Oh, and then he got the Oversee with Jurjerod. So yeah, I think that there's two more lasers and single ignition reactor, and then what? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. So there's three lasers and seven non-lasers. So pretty good chance he'll be able to find one on his next R&D. So I got to move. We're gonna run a rapid. And that's another thing is I don't want to do this base defenses yet because I'm moving or hoping to move. And that's something that I see Rebel players do too is base defenses, that's a good mission. Let's play it. And the Empire is right outside the base. And if you're not planning on sticking it out in that base, wait on the base defenses. Because again, that's something that you can get play base defenses even when there's space floating around, your system when you're revealed. It's almost never too late for base defenses. So, and yep, right on cue, he soon tears the Star Destroyers. He soon tears Coruscant. I think he'll be pretty successful here. So he'll get his TIE Fighter card. No bueno. Mm. Hmm. Probably should have sent a leader to this, maybe. I don't know. It hurts. It's painful. Sent here. Too good. We're doing some nonverbal communication. I've been missing the voice chat. Back in the day, it was pretty much guaranteed that if you were playing a game of Rebellion with somebody, you were also voice chatting. Kind of miss that. I'm gonna try and I don't know. Maybe I can figure out how to record voice chat when I film some of these games. I'm going to so I keep Dodana in hand. Kind of wished I had done his action card, but I'm going for Seize Control here since he did an R&D off this. Okay, no hits. Since he did an R&D off this sabotage. Okay, and cycle my cards as well, which is pretty nice. Just trying to get points where I can. Going to retreat to Ryloth. Not worried about keeping Geo blockaded, especially with that Death Star moving its way up north. And I want to give myself an opportunity. Say, for example, if if I'd kept that speeder on queue, I might, give myself an opportunity to draw into raid Imperial Factory or something, score that in Geo. But okay, so he gets Kessel. I have nobody back to block. Ah, dagger. You really want him moving toward Kessel because he would be doing that with the Kashyyyk Star Destroyer, which, if you remember, I predicted was not going to be in Kashyyyk much longer. So we'll see if I regret not taking Wookiee Uprising, especially if it moves toward Alderaan. Here comes the R&D. So one project in hand right off the top gives it a 3 out of 10 chance of being a laser. And this is going to be one of those moments where predicting his projects is going to be vital because it tells me how desperate I am to move the base. Am I really going to push it, or am I going to push it with a risky base, or am I going to stick it out in Ilum as long as I can? Hopefully, with this rapid, I'll see Dantooine and Yavin. I know Felucia he doesn't have, but I assume he's going to move there promptly from Mon Cal. Mm. It might be good here to sabotage Dathomir. So I was going to roll a blank. Oh, wow. Green dice are showing up big this game. I think Dathomir would have been a good because first of all, I have lead the strike team. So in a pinch, I can lead the strike team there to try and get that target marker. But also it just diminishes what he's able to deploy near my base, especially for the ground. I think at this moment, I'm almost just hoping that I don't have to do a ground assault there because I can only bring 4 units. It's going to take all 3 of my speeders and just leave me so weak that maybe if by chance that Death Star moves to Yavin or something, I can just breathe a sigh of relief. Even if it moves to Mandalore, um, the 2 points that I got with Heart of the Empire is really just speeding up the game immensely. Not too keen to infiltrate, knowing that he might be on a capture. Infiltrate there, knowing that he probably wants to move. And I get lucky. There is the uprising right off the top of the level threes. Now, had I used Odana, I could have increased my chances to get into the level threes to get something like uprising, but it just luck of the draw is the top. And what's the situation here? I have one, two, three, four, five, six loyalty. One, two, three, four, five, six. This is 7 with Mothma and going to be 8 with Riken. And so because I'm using the rote deck, a recon, a regional aid, lots of missions I can get to really boost my ability to get loyalty. And he's been using his loyalty to get ships and to check systems, not to turn off mine. And so, hmm, maybe he doesn't have Nalhada. Maybe that was just randomly a good choice to send Leia. Maybe he doesn't have Nalhada, so the Star Destroyer makes its way up. I don't think he. I don't think he moved his Star Destroyers down last turn. Did he? Capture. Nothing else for Medine to do but block. Hmm. No more greens. No more greens. Blocked. Okay. And then another alliance. I don't mind Malistaire here. Felucia's okay. You know, the nice thing about Felucia is it makes sure that it's subjugated. He's not going to be able to get it Imperial loyal anytime soon. So I'm always keeping a backdoor chance that with my under the radar Felucia probe and a behind enemy lines, I could move there if things get dicey in Ilum. Tatooine, I see he just checked. You hate to see it. Bespin, he just moved to. Utapau, I'm sure he assumes I'm not there. And Yavin. So Yavin is very good to see. Now I have some good bluffing. And that, yeah, he noticed that he didn't move his Star Destroyers down. I'm glad. It would have been sad if uh, the game went sideways for him because he forgot to move the build queue down. Mm, you know what? Kind of wished I had done Long War there. Kind of wished I had done Long War with Heart of the Empire and Decisive because I'm planning on doing everything in my might to score Uprising this turn. And with Long War last turn and Uprising this turn, that's the game. So maybe I think that I can get the Decisive scored. Not sure where I would do it. Not sure where the plan is to do it. Tatooine's not gonna happen. Okay, let's do a little bluffing at Felucia, get some Star Destroyers put up in Mon Cal. And we got some big capital ships on the queue now, but is it too little too late? They're not going to do anything against the Death Star. I build two Y-wings. I mean, if I do get a heist, the Death Star is vulnerable. I don't know. Maybe build some X-wings, put some X-wings in the base. I have a Nebulon on queue. There's always a chance that I could get to a place to put that in the base. I just put three things in the base. I think I just put three things in the base. So no matter what happens, Joke officially wins this game. Oh, that's too bad. That's not. No bueno. Look at all those Star Destroyers. Whew. I should be allowed to put six things in the base with that build queue. Goodness gracious. Yeah, just drop one in every system, man. It's like Oprah Winfrey giving out Star Destroyers out here. You get a Star Destroyer. You get a Star Destroyer. I feel fortunate. It looks like he's missing Endor or Hoth. I know he's missing Yavin. Hmm. And see, if I had taken out that shield bunker, it would have really, like, he could just drop a Star Destroyer in Dathomir. I'm feeling fortunate that he hasn't so far, but interesting. It seems like he doesn't have now Hada. I might have just gotten really lucky with these probes. Pretty lucky with the objectives, pretty lucky with the probes, not so lucky with the missions. But it just takes one. Right, what are we doing here? This is where I'm missing Churret because it looks like what I'm doing is I'm trying to take out this ground in Dathomir. There's a slight thought in my mind that if I can strip the ground force in Dathomir, maybe he'll just move the Death Star to Yavin and blow it up, thinking I'm there. And then it's really going to be unlikely that he'll get another laser, and really unlikely the Death Star will make it to my base. So that might be the plan here, is to ambush a trooper and an ATST and then plant explosives to get the second ATST. That sounds like a plan. Good turn to rebel plan. Good turn to ambush. Seeing how many level 3s I have left. I've just seen one. Don't really want to get a Death Star plans without a heist first. You know what I could also do if I had kept Turret is I could ambush with Maydeen, then plant explosives with Turret, and then lead the strike team with Saul, and get a really easy way to take up that target marker. I think at this point I'm just hoping it doesn't come down to a battle over the Death Star because I have so few fighters. I have no 1 in a million. I have no Death Star plans, but Return of the Jedi. That is very lucky. Two very, very good level 3s. Especially with the possibility of reconning a behind enemy lines. All right, let's get rid of this ground. Let's get him to just guess and blow up Yavin. Joe can be a little trigger happy with the lasers, so it's not outside the realm of possibility. And then I don't need to infiltrate because I have stolen plans, so I'm gonna see the rest. I'm gonna see the rest of the level 3s and know what's coming up. Very nice. He's going to check indoor real quick. And, or no, or no. Mm, probably not a priority. It might be more of a priority to check Felucia to get those units over toward Yavin. Let's see what we got here. Gonna be a Death Star plans. We know the first level one. The first level one is the defend the people. And there's Inspire Sympathy. So that's a guaranteed point. Definitely don't want Show No Fear. That would be very counterproductive. Oh, and then here's the move to Felucia. Really need to block whatever the Emperor is doing. I'm at 8 loyalty, so scoring Uprising here is hanging on by a thread. Fortunately, I can recon and get the established trade relations back, but I really just want to score this Uprising as quick as possible. Nada. Gotta be worried about carbon. Gotta be worried about retrieve the plans. I'm stacking everything in Dathomir. Um, will I be able to continue to do that? Now, Recon, interesting, they did this weird thing with the rote deck where all of a sudden you go from the blue cards saying anywhere there's an Imperial unit, to now Recon has to be in an Imperial system. So if I'm smart, maybe I'll huh, really think I should sabotage Dathomir. Not just because it's safer for the capture, but just get rid of that shield bunker, and then he won't be able to deploy any ground with the Death Star. Mm-hmm. Yeah, not my smoothest gameplay. And now maybe I was wanting to stack the recon there, and because he just left the TIE fighter, I can't recon there. I could recon in Rhodia because there are no units, and make it harder to capture, but and so now I'm just going for loyalty. I don't care where the loyalty is. I just want to be safer from a capture. And now, with Mothma having R2 and being with Regan, it's going to be pretty hard for him to capture. The capture in and of itself is not too bad. It's the retrieve the plans I'm worried about. And look at this. The Death Star comes to Megiddo, and I am not on rapid. So I don't know. I don't know. I need to score Uprising. Need to block Palpatine with Leia, and just brings the Death Star in 2 strikers. Awful, awful, awful feeling. This invincible Death Star thing is bonkers. If I had put that Y wing in Ryloth and then put the Vanguard there next turn, maybe that would be a potential place to score decisive. But I need now because I didn't do Long War last turn. I need to find an objective point somewhere if I'm lucky enough to get Uprising off. I pass. I'm worried about the capture, but I don't see it. I could have done it in Rhodia, where there are no units. I can't believe I didn't see it. Big mistake. And now I have to block this. I'm really going for, and this only bodes poorly for whatever Palpatine is doing. Um, Palpatine's got to be on a display of power or propaganda. So it's bad all the way around. There you see it. He's probably playing around support of the Hutts. He doesn't even know how fortunate he is. And because I didn't recon, bless me, because I didn't recon this turn in ROTE for free, I don't have that extra loyalty mission next turn. This is just these little things. And now I've put Leia at risk, so next turn I gotta play around Carbon, I gotta play around Retrieve the Plans. Not well played. And the Death Star is right knocking on the door. We'll play Long War now. Bit too late. I don't know if that was correct. I don't know if that was correct. I think so. He's done two R&Ds right off the top. He's done a repair with both of them, and he just discarded an interdictor. So it's possible, and he spent one laser. It's possible he doesn't have a laser. If he doesn't have a laser and he doesn't get Carbon off, and he doesn't get Retrieve the Plans off, I have a chance. If he doesn't have a laser, counting his projects. So this is really where counting those projects is becoming vitally important. Um, yeah, I really wished I had that trade relations. Really wished I had done Long War earlier, and I wished that now I had kept Decisive Victory, because I think there's always a chance that he drops a TIE fighter in Ord, for example. There's always a chance that I could deploy some stuff in Ryloth and maybe get off a decisive in Tatooine, or he retreats from a battle, something where I'm able to get the decisive off. Even if I had queued up, even if I had queued up the lead the strike team last turn in order to get this target marker up, it forces him to play a lot more carefully. So it's interesting. I don't really know what the takeaway is. I think I'm playing a bit fast, and I'm not really paying attention to what my options are. Um, sometimes you can, like earlier in this game, I drew lead the strike team, and I thought to myself, wow, okay, this is going to help me score heart. And when it got to a point where the lead the strike team wasn't good for heart, I kind of didn't really think about what I could use it for. Now, lead the strike team in this scenario might help me get Return of the Jedi, but I also really want to rescue Leia. And if I rescue Leia, she goes to the base, and then I can't use lead the strike team. That's an often forgotten rule, is lead the strike team in Planetary Conquest. There's three movement rules. Adjacency, you have to move to a system that's adjacent. You have to have transport capacity for ground units and units without hyperdrive. And you can't move from the system that has one of your leaders in it. And each card, if it allows you to ignore any of those rules, will state explicitly. And so it's one of the intricate, fun things about Rebellion is learning, okay, behind enemy lines allows you to ignore these rules. Lead the strike team allows you to ignore these rules, and you are forced to use them differently and therefore play around them differently. It's just one thing that I really like about the game. Sometimes I see people get frustrated of like, why does this card work this way and this card works the other way? And it's like, because you want cards to do different things. You want to be able to have different opportunities, an opportunity for, um, you want to have an opportunity for when you don't have transport in the base. You want to have an opportunity for when you have leaders in the base that against your control. And this is a desperate play here. This play is, um, I hope that he is worried about Raid Imperial Factory and tries to block. I hope that he doesn't have a laser. I hope that he doesn't have Dantooine. A lot of I hopes going into this play here, but really I don't see any other play. I just need to keep him from revealing my base. Try to get some more fighters in the base. Give myself more time to get a heist. Because I didn't take out that bunker, I don't really want to commit to get uh, the secure the plans target marker up. Now, if he has retrieved the plans and he plays it right here, I'm probably toast. Fortunately, he doesn't. Interesting. I don't like not blocking there. I don't like not blocking because I don't know if he has Dantooine. And I would really like for him to not get Dantooine. I know Yavin, but he can check Yavin from Dathomir, and then if he draws Dantooine this turn, he knows probably where my base is. Don't know why I didn't block with Dodonna. We'll do a critical rescue here. Okay. So no attempt to block. That makes me think that he's probably not on carbon. Or if he is on carbon, he has another capture queued up. And again, with each of these missions, I'm secretly hoping that he tries to block them. I want him to block the behind the lead the strike team. I want him to block this rescue. Not wanting him to succeed in any of them, but just wanting him to not have leaders to move to the base. Okay, now I can do this recon safely in Megiddo. Um, or not. Okay. That's right. Something weird goes on here. Oh, I remember. I remember being really confused. I'm kind of like, put me out of my misery, put me out of my misery. I feel like he has a laser. I feel like he knows where my base is. And for some reason, he's just not moving to Ilum and blowing me up. And there's something funny that's going on right here that I can't see from my perspective that he fills me in on after the game. But let's see if you guys can catch it. Now, you've seen all my rapids. You know what systems he doesn't know. You know my objectives and what I'm at risk of scoring. And so see if you can piece together the dilemma. I checked my probe here because I'm not quite sure I've been playing right, which I've done before, unfortunately. But see if you can piece together what the position that he's put himself in. Planetary on Ilum. Now, boy, do I want this to happen. So right here, I tell him to go ahead. And then he goes, oppose. And I go, oh, I'll send Rican. I really don't want Rican to block this. And I'm relieved to see him roll a 3. But I'm worried that if I don't block it with all of my leaders in the pool, then he will go, he has Return of the Jedi and bring no units. And so, so I send Riken hoping that Riken doesn't block it because he could choose that. He could go, oh, I succeed automatically. I'm going to bring no units. And now I'm relieved because he has just totally blundered into a Return of the Jedi score. I'm going to wipe this fleet handedly with Obi in the base. And I'll start to spell out a little bit of what his dilemma was because unfortunately he really played well and got so much production and kept the Death Stars safe. And then it was just this one mistake at the end that costs him. Um, yeah. So what happened was, if you remember from earlier, he didn't have Utapau. And because he didn't have Utapau, when he did gather intel with Palpatine and Utapau, he realized, I can't move in the Death Star with any ground because if he has Return of the Jedi, and he started to randomly convince himself that I was in Utapau, and if he moved in with the Death Star to blow up Utapau, I was going to score Return of the Jedi and win. And it kind of broke his concentration a little bit. And he ended up going, well, let me just check Ilum first because he had no ground to check with it. And it just so happened I was there and he had put Vader on when he should have put Krennic's Finest on it. And it just kind of unraveled there at the end when he started to convince himself I was on Utapau and he had put himself in a bad position with the Emperor uh, gathering intel on Utapau. And so, but yeah, close game, really well played by Joke. I just got lucky with the missions off the top with the level threes and um, it was fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. A little bit shorter than the last one, but feel free to leave any comments and I'll check you guys in the next one.